So Kevin Clayton, we're here at the Thai Entertainment Complex Roundtable. We've had a full day of vibrant discussions with some opposing voices, and we heard from yourself and some other operators too. What's been your general take of how the day's proceedings went?
Yeah, well, thank you, Ben, and thank you, IAG, for organising such an event. This was quite an important event for Thailand and for the entertainment complex industry. Look, you judge at the end of the day where you started at the start of the day in terms of your expectations. So I expected some robust discussion, and we got that. I expected some openness in terms of us, trying to understand some of the issues around the entertainment complex bill for Thailand. We got that, and for people generally to understand what is an entertainment complex, because I think there's still been some confusion over that, and we got that from the presentations and as well as the discussion. So I think really against what my expectations were for this event, I think we achieved that. This is only the start of quite a long journey, leading hopefully to an RFP sometime, if not this year, then sometime obviously in the first half of next year.
It's challenging to change the mind of opposing voices, but we had a strong media contingent in the room, so I suppose one of the key objectives is to start to get a narrative out there in Thailand, and as you said, to try and really explain what is an entertainment complex and how can it be of benefit.
Yeah, look, there's different audiences that you're talking to and with. One is the opposing voices within government or very close to government, stakeholders within the country, and we had that as a function of the roundtable, as well as some questions from the audience associated with that. But also, to reach out to a much broader audience in terms of saying, look, this is who we are. Right, you're putting a face to the industry. The industry hadn't put a face on it previously, so we've done that, and I'm just hopeful that people can see that we're balanced and we're considered, and we're also very community related, right? So for all of the negativity that's in the media, one, you want to explain who you are, what you stand for, and the fact that we want to work with Thailand and the Thailand people and the government to realise something truly remarkable for its country. And again, this is probably one of multiple things that needs to occur within the country to achieve that.
We spoke a lot today about the Singapore model and how that was hugely successful. We mentioned the challenges the Japan experience showed up and things that perhaps were done wrong and right in Japan. We're still very early days in Thailand. How do you feel Thailand is shaping up at this very early stage?
Well, that's a key question. Look, you look at everybody's mentioned Singapore primarily for two reasons. One is they did operate extraordinarily well from the initialization of an idea, right the way through in the early 2000s, right the way through to execution in 2010 and up to this present day. So they are looked at as being a gold standard for entertainment complex and entertainment complex industry. So there's no denying why it was mentioned and referenced extensively. And the same as in the afternoon conversation, Japan was referenced as a way not to advance, primarily because that just got bogged down by politics and got bogged down in terms of counter arguments, around entertainment complexes. Where are we at this moment in time? I would say we're probably sitting at a 0-0 score. We're probably drawing at the moment. There's still a lot of work to do in the second half, but at least you've given everybody's got a chance to win this game now, whether that's a governmental department or whether or not it's the industry or whether it's the people. We're getting closer to a point where we can hopefully strike out and do something remarkable for this country.
Why does Galaxy see Thailand as such a great opportunity?
Look, I think partly because, one, it's scale, right? You've got a 60 million population, increasing in wealth. We talked heavily in the room around, the middle class and the middle class for Asia. Thailand is part of that story. It's got an aspirational population in terms of populace. They want to express themselves. They want to progress as a country. Beautiful culture, great service orientation, and we're interested in particular in Bangkok because The metropolitan area is a very sizable area. It's got a great infrastructure around airports. And we believe that a landmark destination, a landmark entertainment complex for Bangkok is well overdue. Right? If you want to compete internationally in terms of tourism, you got to have that sort of asset, because that asset attracts the big names as well in terms of entertainment to Bangkok.
Yeah, you made a couple of interesting points during today's discussions that I'll touch on. One was around that very point, that at the moment Bangkok isn't attracting the truly big international acts, but it could with the right venues.
Yeah, look, I'm only reflecting on the commentary that's been made to me by people in Bangkok, and they're saying, when they ventured to, and they have been to Galaxy Resorts Macau, and they've gone to Galaxy Arena, and they've seen 16,000 people, and they've seen a major artist on the stage, and they go, wow, why haven't we got this in Bangkok? Right? Because if you've got the right sort of facility and the right sort of attraction, then it does attract the big names, as we're finding out in Galaxy, in Galaxy Arena in Macau. So we'd like to replicate that, right? Not replicate it verbatim in terms of exactly the same, entertainment complex that we've got in Macau, and put that into Bangkok, because we'd like to do something truly unique here. But the facility needs to be world-class and of a world-class nature to actually attract not just great artists, but actually attract, they call it the upwardly mobile traveller in terms of tourism. They're looking for some form of luxury as well.
Well, when we talk about luxury, another comment that you made in there was about, perhaps Thailand hasn't experienced that level of luxury that an entertainment complex or integrated resort, as we call it, can bring. I mean, we're talking about a new level altogether here.
Yeah, look, the luxury-orientated travel market is expanding at a pace. It's probably the fastest growing segment of travel. So people are wanting to travel. They may travel, a slightly longer or slightly shorter period. But what they want to experience when they're out there is something that they can't normally experience when they're in their normal day-to-day lives. And that tends to be a sense of luxury around food, hospitality, entertainment and attractiveness generally, or attractions generally. So I think you've got to play to that market. It doesn't mean that Bangkok or Thailand hasn't got some forms of luxury. It's got some nice resorts through, obviously, some of its beach locations. It's got fantastic retail, probably the best retail in Asia. But that in itself, and that in isolation, doesn't meet the requirements. You want to really come to a centre, a precinct, an entertainment complex that will have multiple hotels of different grades of luxury, from affordable entry luxury right the way through to super luxury, have an arrangement of different restaurants, have an arrangement of different entertainment concepts. So that becomes complementary to what's already called classic Thailand, but start to show a more modernistic aspect of Thailand to the world.
How important is the concept of getting people to stay in Thailand longer than they currently are?
Well, yield is critical, right? The longer you can get people to stay in any location, irrespective of whether it's Thailand, Singapore or elsewhere, leads to a higher form of yield for the country in terms of earning potential. Right, people stay longer, they spend more, they probably invest more in terms of where they're staying as well, because you're not just staying one night, you might be staying 2 to 3 nights, and then you become a little bit more discerning about where you're going to stay and what you're going to do with your time. So the actual yield per individual increases significantly in terms of by length of stay.
Sure. Well, last question, Kevin. I mean, as we said, we've discussed a lot today. We're at 0-0, as you said, but we're in the game. Where would you like to see things go to over the next 6 to 12 months in terms of discussions with government, discussions with other stakeholders? What's the next steps?
Look, I think what came out of the discussion today on the Roundtable is some greater clarity around some of the regulations and the regulatory requirements for the market. I think, that would probably quieten down some of the anxiety and noise that's in the market at the moment. I think continuation of education of call it the populace of Thailand around what is an entertainment complex. This is just the start. I know the government made an announcement yesterday. I think there needs to be some further work on that, because we just need to allay the fears that we're not what people have suggested previously. So let's put some facts and data around entertainment complexes. Let's get people excited as well about the entertainment complex industry. So maybe more sharing about where it's successful, why is it successful, some more case studies around that. And I think people start to become more comfortable with the concept. But I think also the eye is in the detail, and I think people are crying out for a little bit more detail around what the entertainment complex build should look like at the second and third phase as we build out regulations.
Great. Well, good luck, Kevin, and thanks for taking part today.
Thanks, Ben. Thank you.